What's up, everybody? This is your boy Glenn back with another Bears off-season preview. The previous video series was a hit. Lots of views, lots of interaction. Love to see it. So this time I'm going to bring back the very similar series. Going to probably be a multi-part video. Um, I'm going to try to keep it a little shorter than the last time. There's a lot of overlap with some slight changes, but we're going to hop right into it. If you are new here, like and subscribe. I'm just a Bears fan that likes talking about the Bears. So I'm going to talk through what would be my off-season plans in this very fake world that I am living in my sick, twisted head. So I'm going to get right into it. All right. Real quick, we're going to take a look at the free agents that are set to hit the market this offseason from the Bears, from their current roster. Obviously, David Montgomery, Sam Mustipher being two of the more notable ones on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to consider bringing back everybody in yellow. Everybody else, I'm going to let them take a walk, test the waters in free agency. If we end up circling back with them, due to a lack of interest in free agency, then so be it. But I'm going to at least let them test the waters. Some guys here in Mustipher and Montgomery that have been nice pieces to the team, but I think if you're going to take that next step, those are guys you got to be willing to upgrade at those positions. So we're going to let them go. On the defensive side of the ball, once again, I'm going to consider bringing back everybody in yellow. All these other guys, I'm just going to let walk. I'm not even going to circle back to them. Maybe Morrow, but probably not. His performance just doesn't justify the near $4 million per year price tag. Looking ahead to next year, just a little forecasting. These guys are key players. You could argue Travis Gibson and Kendall Vildorf, maybe a little bit not, but Komet, Claypool, Johnson, and Mooney. Obviously, Claypool has been disappointing, but those four guys are guys you're hoping contribute in 2023 and you want to bring back in 2024. I think Komet and Mooney, arguably, although he is coming off an injury, have maybe done enough to consider extending early, maybe this offseason. Jalen Johnson, I know a lot of Bears fans love him. I'm not the biggest fan. I wouldn't be surprised if he got some kind of offer to come back, but I still think we need to upgrade at that position. Maybe make him a cornerback too on this team. And then in 2025, Fields isn't going to be a free agent. They're going to bring him back on a club option if he's still with the Bears. Got to imagine he is. Obviously, they could explore moving him this offseason, but I think Eddie Jackson, Whitehair, and Herbert probably won't be back at that point. Jenkins and Sanborn, if they stay healthy and keep contributing, I think they'll be back. But still a little look forward to. These ages are the ages they will hit free agency. So just so you know, Tevin Jenkins is younger than that 27 number. But anyways, let's see. Is there anything else on this page that's noteworthy? No noteworthy stuff. Just some grades that I use to look at. But we'll move on. Some team notes. We talked about this in the last video series, but just some potential building blocks for the future on this team. Braxton, Tevin, I think those are guys you could build around on the offensive line. Both had pretty nice years, despite having some lackluster help around them. Justin Fields, obviously a building block, probably the most important asset on the Bears roster right now. Cole Kmet, Mooney, I said my piece on them last time. Let's hope Mooney comes back from that ankle and is his same old self. On the defensive side of the ball, Eddie Jackson was the best Bear this year. There's little argument there. He is getting a little older in age, and the Liz Frank injury scares me, but he was great this last year. Jaquan Brisker, along with Kyler Gordon, both got better as the season went on. Gordon, some just really poor grades. Got better later on the year, but hoping to see him really have a nice sophomore season with the Bears. I think Jaquan Brisker, I think with him, we have a legitimate, bona fide starting safety. Am I going to say he's an absolute stud? No, but he is a guy you put back there and you trust that he can hold his own as a starter right now. Maybe develops into something special. Jack Sanborn, I think he's earned it for sure a starting position next year. He comes back and plays the way he was playing when he was healthy. I think he's a guy that at off the ball linebacker that can really be an asset on that defense. And then I said my piece on Jalen Johnson. Nice cornerback, maybe better in his early years, but less help around him now. Let's hope if he gets a little more help around him, he gets back to his cornerback one ways, or at least high end cornerback two. These are the guys, if I were in charge of the Bears, I'd consider cutting this offseason, bringing that salary cap up quite a bit. These are all rough numbers. I'm not a salary cap expert, so just keep that in mind. And then a little side note here: the Bears have signed these guys to like reserve future contracts, so they'll most likely be a part of that 90-man roster next year. Um, you know, do any of these guys make the team? I don't know about that, but they'll probably be on that 90-man roster heading into OTAs and training camp. You look at the roster going into free agency, there are a lot of holes. These guys in blue have been brought back from our own free agency, but this is all prior to hitting the open market in free agency. If I were in charge of the Bears, I would strongly consider some of these key acquisitions in free agency to start building that roster. Arden Key's done a nice job with the Jags, obviously coming out of LSU. I wouldn't mind having him on a short prove-it deal at defensive end. Dalvin Tomlinson's done a nice job for a number of years, most recently up in Minnesota. I know Javon Hargrave and Deron Payne are popular names that are getting thrown around at defensive tackle. And the more I look at it, I probably lean Hargrave, despite him being older. He's more of a difference maker, especially when it comes to pass rushing. God knows the Bears can use some pass rush help. Deron Payne's younger, but his performance is a little lacking compared to what I thought it would be, just knowing his name and whatever else. Bobby Okereke is a guy I'd really like at linebacker for the Bears. I'd love to see him come in and, be that second linebacker along with Sanborn to hold down the second level of the defense. Joe Thomas can be that third linebacker that rotates out in nickel formation. Jesse Bates, the third, out of Fort Wayne, which I recently learned. I'd love this guy to come in and fill in that safety spot next to Brisker if Eddie Jackson is said goodbye to this offseason. And then these two guys, I think, are two key signings that would really take our offensive line from okay and maybe up and coming to a legitimate, really good offensive line. I think you put these two guys alongside Tevin Jenkins and Braxton Jones, I think you're really looking at a top tier offensive line. Still got to figure out what to do at right tackle. Is Larry Borum the guy? Do you switch Braxton over to right tackle, try to figure out left tackle long term? Do you think Braxton is the left tackle long term solution? Does Tevin Jenkins go back out to right tackle after what I would consider a very successful year at guard? There's some flexibility there, some questions to be answered, but I think if you put these two guys along with Braxton and Tevin, I think you're getting a really nice offensive line with the outlook to be pretty good for at least a couple years. All right, after free agency, the roster is looking like this. Still lots of yellow, lots of depth needed, still some starters needed for sure. Even if you look at, running back, I know Khalil Herbert could fill in the starter role. Wide receiver, we could move some of these guys up. I'd like to see some playmakers there, some real game changers. This is the way I'm looking at the roster heading into the draft if they were to sign some of these guys in free agency. With that being said, I'm going to end the first video here. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at the draft game plan, and then I'm going to go in and execute a live mock draft. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, this is your boy Glenn. I love you. Peace.